Hello, and welcome to Books in Action. I'm Jen Latimer. Tonight I have with me Sarah Lester. She is the director of the Maplewood Memorial Library and the originator of the Ideas Festival. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, Jennifer.
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I'm really excited. The festival is, well, it's coming, right? It's next month.
Right.
And it runs from April 17th to April 29th. And I was hoping, now, 9 years, do you have a hope for people this year, attendees? Like, what do you, big picture, wish for them to take away from this year?
Well, I think that the Ideas Festival every year, and since we've started, really has been a celebration of the talent and creativity in our community. And it's fantastic. And are surrounded by so many people who do such amazing things, and we just love to celebrate them. This year, I think it's even more joyful and uplifting, having come out of COVID, fully in person. That alone, we're really, really excited
Reason
about.
to celebrate.
Yes.
Excellent. Can you give us a sneak peek of some of the topics and themes? I know we have the official, agenda, like the official announcement of everyone speaking. But what are you excited about?
Well, I think. I have to say, I'm thrilled with our lineup this year. Okay. I think it speaks to what is so wonderful about Maplewood and South Orange. And this year we are, as is every year, we are giving a Maplewood Literary Award. Okay. And this year it is going to Eliza Minot, who is a longtime Maplewood resident. And my family moved here in 2006, and that's the year The Brambles came out. So that was her second book, and her third book, In the Orchard, will be coming out on the day that we celebrate Eliza, which is on April 25th.
Excellent.
So that's really exciting.
Right.
But I could go down the list, and I don't know if I have time to do that.
Yes.
But okay.
I think
we have Eliza Minot coming. Okay. This will be the third year that we're giving the Carol Buchanan Award for Outstanding Contribution to Civic and Academic and Intellectual Life. And this year's recipients are Audrey Rowe and Nancy Gagne, recognizing their work for the South Orange Maplewood Community Coalition on Race. Okay. And they've had such an incredible contribution and made such an incredible contribution to our town and nationally. So we're really excited about celebrating them. We also have an amazing filmmakers panel with Maplewood residents and director Matthew Galkin, with his co-director Razel Benali, who are the directors of Murder in Bighorn, which was released on Showtime, and it has been widely acclaimed, along with their editor Dave Melman. And this will be moderated by Academy Award nominated and very much acclaimed editor Tim Squires, who came to the Ideas Festival in 2016. Okay. And the New Jersey Tap Ensemble will be at the Woodland on April 22nd. So that will be a lot of fun. And then we have Amol Sina and his and some of his colleagues from the New Jersey ACLU, and they'll be in conversation with Maplewood resident Robert Marchman. We also have Seth Abramson and Todd Abramson, brothers. Seth is in jazz. Todd is the rock guy, and some of you may recognize him from WFUV. And so they'll be in conversation, a little brotherly jazz versus rock. And our final program is with Michelle Miller, who is an award-winning journalist and co-host of CBS Saturday Morning. And we have her book here today because her book, Belonging, has been released today. And she will be in conversation with another South Orange resident, Caroline Cookie Minnick Mason. So, these are all powerhouses, all incredible people, and they're coming to the library, and they're doing these events at the library.
Now, because of the construction, which we'll talk about in a minute, where are some of I know you mentioned the Woodland. Are we using multiple facilities this year?
We are. Okay. So we have 2 events at the Woodland, and that's the Filmmakers Panel and the New Jersey Tap Ensemble. Okay. And the other events are all at Maplewood Town Hall. Excellent.
Excellent.
Yes.
Perfect.
And they're free. They're open to the public. There's no ticket necessary. And so we welcome all. Yeah.
Excellent. So I have some more questions. We'll go into some more of that about like the individual people, but how, for people who are maybe new to learning about the Ideas Festival, how do you go about picking speakers every year? Like is there a secret to the process?
Well, we have a committee of Maplewood Library librarians, and it starts there. And so every year we go through, we clip, we mark, we look at the local media, see who our neighbors are, who our library patrons are, and we come up with a list. And we have also many recommendations from people in the community who have also told us about people that would be interesting to hear from.
And really, I was going to say, after 9 years, I feel like there's always, I know I myself have given suggestions, sort of like that idea, like you go to one and you're like, oh, this would be even great too. So
yes, we get wonderful feedback. And I have to say, when we first started this, I think, I did hear from a couple of people who said, Sarah, this is going to last 3 years and you're going to run out of people. And I said, I don't think so. And I think this has really proven true that, we've got a deep well in this community. And I mean, I can think of even for next year, we already are thinking about next year. So we really do have a lot of people.
Isn't that the cliche? Like when you move here, you're like, if you just throw an object, you can hit an artist, an actor, a writer, a Broadway performer.
Yes.
Which is, for me, always been sort of just a huge coup and like a selling point, right? It's like it's a sign of joy also.
And in Maplewood, with over 80% of our community with library cards, all of those people are also readers and library users. So that's also a wonderful connection.
I'm really excited for next year. I mean, I know we're not there yet. We want to savor 9, but 10's going to be exciting.
Yes.
So, the big decade of excellence. Okay, I digress. So even like a bigger picture, because I know, I mean, even the other day, somebody asked me if in library I teach the Dewey Decimal System, and I so instinctively wanted to just roll my eyes and say, no. I mean, we do. We teach structure of the library, but the libraries are so much more than that. Like, how do you see the public library in the role of like community? Like, how do you see the library like this, like in people's lives?
So I think, here, and I've also worked other places, it really is the heart of the community. And it's a free and open space that anybody can walk into, no questions asked, no money exchanged, everybody is welcomed. And I think what I appreciate most about the library is you connect people to one another.
Right.
So we're automatically put up against people that we've never met before. People from different backgrounds, all sorts of just wonderful connections. So I see that now, that happens every day with the people that come into the library, whether they're seniors or children or coming for a baby story time. It's just a wonderful way to bring people together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's a community gathering place, but also a place for lifelong learning. And that's really important, so that we have all these resources so that people continue to learn and grow. And
maybe even inspiring them a little bit through like the Ideas Festival, showing what your neighbors can and have done.
Yes, and we received grant funding for this every year locally, but also from the Essex County Local Arts grant. And that is one of the components of the grant. There's an educational component to that. And so we see that, I mean, this is a way for people to interact with some of these world famous people, for free, to ask questions, to learn from, and to find out their journey. How did they get to where they were, where they are now? So that in itself is really a gift.
I always say also, like last year I watched Nancy Solomon, right? Was that just last year?
Yes.
Feels like could many ages ago, but and she was talking about her new podcast, right? And her investigative journalism into New Jersey, and this maybe like called the dark underbelly of what she was uncovering. And it inspired me, like, to learn more about my own state.
Yes.
You know, and just things that you don't maybe see that are happening. So like going to that one event really just sparked this whole.
And I think that's a really good example, because that podcast, by that podcast, she opened up that case again.
Yeah.
By going, you know, delving into
and asking
into
questions
that story
people
and
did not
asking
want to
questions.
ask.
So I think there's power in what all these artists do
Right.
on the, you know, every day.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was fascinated by that. And I still, like, I sometimes ponder, like, you know, you hear the tropes about, you know, government or the messiness of certain issues, and then you actually get to talk to someone and be in the room with someone who's really asking the hard-hitting questions.
Yes.
And makes news just seem that much more interesting to read in the morning.
Right.
What are some of the challenges you faced this year, if any, to organize the festival, right? And how did you overcome them if you came up to any hurdles? I mean, I know we've talked about facility.
Yeah, I think the facility is our biggest hurdle. So, and while our main library is under construction, we've had to really expand our view of what the library is. We have 2 smaller spaces, but you know, we really have to bring the library to people here, you know, wherever they are. So as I said, we're using different, you know, community spaces. So we're very grateful for Maplewood for making that happen. You know, I can't really think of other challenges. I think, you know, you know, every year it's an opportunity for us to meet new people, to get out and to, you know, to make connections within panels. You know, so for instance, when I talked to Matthew Galkin about the idea of doing, you know, something about, you know, a filmmaker panel, and suggested that, I said I'd like to get in touch with Tim Squires to see if he would moderate. I mean, Matthew was over the moon. He's never met him, you know, and he's like, he had no idea he lived in Maplewood, and you know, and Tim is, you know, is known, is you know, is this amazing.
So 2 really well-known people, but they just hadn't realized their paths hadn't necessarily crossed.
Correct.
Locally, so.
Right. And then, and Tim said he'd never been in the moderator's seat. He's always been the person who's been asked the questions. So it's an opportunity for him too.
No, I mean, you know, even just sitting in this seat asking you questions, like we've known each other for years, but you know, sometimes having an opportunity to sit on the other side it's just also it makes you as your own practice get better, right? And to really think about, what do you want to know? Like, you have this moment in time, so I'm excited to see them, how, now that I know that, a little bit of behind the scenes, how they interact.
Right.
And how they bounce off of each other, so that's really exciting.
And I think we could say the same thing about Audrey Rowe and Nancy Gagne. They're usually the person introducing the program, you know, behind the scenes. And now this is an opportunity to hear directly from them, their stories.
It's their moment.
And they deserve it. I mean, they are so deserving of this.
No, it's very exciting. I know my email is always full of reminders of ways I can be a part of their organization and advocate. And so I'm excited to, you know, let them have their moment on the stage where I can just be a learner from them. Because as we know, the work that we do in these 2 towns is hard work. But the library is in, I think, the best position to allow the ability to talk about the hard issues that are facing us. Right. It is inclusive.
And I think it's inclusive, and in a space that's free of judgment, that really is, you know, it's built to be open and foster that kind of dialogue.
Oh, I love those libraries.
Yes, we do.
Go figure. Well, we are up against our first break here, so if you do not mind staying with us, everyone, my name is Jen Latimer, this is Sarah Lester, and we'll be right back with Books in Action.
When a child is sick, there's one thing they need: a really big cookie.
Welcome to RMHC.
And parents of sick children have tons of decisions to make. Like movie night, game night, or should we finish that book tonight? We don't perform surgeries, just talent shows. We're not big on poking sticks and beeping machines, but we're the best at playing dress up. Well, we have a few beeping machines. We think the tooth fairy should travel everywhere. And while hospitals have doctors and nurses, we have mom and dad. We don't provide treatment, but we do provide dogs. And we throw some really good parties. Because at Ronald McDonald House Charities, we help families feel at home, even when they can't be.
Hello and welcome back to Books in Action. I'm Jen Latimer and I'm here tonight with Sarah Lester. So when we left before, we were talking about the Ideas Festival, and I was curious. So I feel like in Maplewood, it seems like we get a healthy amount of turnover and people moving around. There's some fluidity to our community, and I was curious how the library sort of like always shifts and evolves to bring in the new people, right? How do we, obviously first as patrons,
Right.
but also as people to come out and understand what is happening, right? The artistic events that are happening.
Right, and that's something that we try very hard to do, and especially after COVID.
Right.
So we sent postcards to all new residents, and with the library under construction, new people don't really know where we are. So it is our
Right.
job to figure that out, how to do that. We do that through schools. We go to different events.
Okay.
We have an ESOL class that takes place at the library, so we meet new residents through that class too, and tell them about our resources. And many of the students for ESOL come from countries where the library is not free, so it's a real new concept to them that they walk in the doors and they can check out this book for free, or use the computer, or read the Wall Street Journal online, or all of these things are all for free. So. And we welcome people's ideas. If there are people that we're not reaching, we want to hear, if you have ideas about how we can do that better, we definitely want to hear that.
Well, I even loved the other day, I know this was about the facility, but I loved the idea of bringing the realtors in, right, for a sit down, right? Because they're facing right, new clients all the time, new residents. So having them sort of give us that, know.
And what Jennifer is talking about is the Library Foundation had a special event specifically for realtors to learn more about the new building. And they presented it as an open house of the building. And the flyer was with an open house, like, with a number of meeting rooms, number of restrooms, number of this, number of that. So it was great.
Good.
And the realtors are excited, it's a way to
exciting.
sell the town. We know statistically when new libraries have been built in other communities, it's the value of properties goes up.
There you go.
So, which is sort of amazing in a town where the property values are going way up anyway, but this has been true.
And then social media, right?
Oh, yeah.
So again.
Yes. So we're out there. We're on, we're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And we post, every few days, and we also have an e-newsletter with over 8,000 subscribers.
Oh.
So that's another way to find out about what's going on in the library. We just need an email address, and we won't bombard you with other things. But once a month, we'll tell you what's going on.
Excellent. And I really think all for us who are residents, reminding us to talk about it, and to also, to share it and get it out to our community so that, everybody's aware of it.
And for new people that don't know, Maplewood is part of a consortium of libraries called the Buckles Consortium of 77 libraries. So although we have a little less than 100,000 items in our collection, as a Maplewood resident, you have access to 5 million items for free.
And the audience may not know, but Sarah, I often find that, I'm the first one to read a book, which I always think is mind-blowing that, if you ask for a book, you will often receive it quickly.
Yes.
And so that's super
exciting. And for those that don't know, Jennifer Latimer is one of our power users. And when you check out a book at a Maplewood library, you get a receipt, and it tells you how much you have saved on an annual basis. Do you know what number you're at?
I cannot say. It's a lot.
It's in the thousands.
It's a lot. It's thousands of dollars.
Yes. So we do have serious power users in the community.
Yes. No, and, I think it's a badge of honor to do that. I often say I don't want to give Nordstrom any more credit for using their name, but I always said it's like the Nordstrom experience, right? You want a book, and there's your luxury experience. The book is, is there for you.
And I would say that most readers are both, they're readers. And I can say this from my own, I'm in Word's bookstore at least once a month buying things. I'm checking out from the library, and I'm buying books. And I think that is true of most readers.
Yes.
And I think that's a good point for me to say that some of the sponsors of the Ideas Festival our Words bookstore.
Yes.
So we're very thankful for the Zimbalese family and to
Yes.
Words for sponsoring the festival every year. The Friends of the Maplewood Library, the Maplewood Library Foundation, and the Women's Club of Maplewood are the other sponsors.
Yay.
So this would not be, we wouldn't be able to do this for free
No.
without them. So thank them all.
No, isn't that always the joke? It's like, Mrs. Latimer, we saw you at school, then you were at the library, and then over the weekend you were also at Words? All those places, yes, guilty as charged. So, as we sort of end this part of the conversation, is there anything that you're particularly this year looking forward to the most? Like, is there anything that makes you, Sarah Lester, head of this library and is like sort of the person that birthed this event into our community? Like, is there something we're going to be excited to see you sitting there in the front row for?
I honestly, these are all my children. I'm
Okay, you
excited
can't
for
pick
all of them.
favorites.
But I'm particularly proud of our staff because I think the library staff, they are the ones that are going out finding, making these connections.
Good answer.
And they've done such an amazing job. So thank you to all
Thank
of the
you, staff.
Maplewood library staff.
Yes, it is a team. So I'd love to switch the conversation in the last few minutes over to the facility because this is very exciting. I drive by and I see, is there a little change here or there, or what am I noticing? How, again, for people who haven't gone and watched the video and seen the images, how will the new facility sort of enhance the user experience? Like one or two. Okay. I mean, I think we could speak for a long time on it.
So some of you have been into our old structure that was built in 1955 and expanded in '69. It was a one-floor structure with the community room in the lower level, which is the basement, and smelled like the basement.
Yes.
And it was outdated. It was beloved, but outdated in many ways, and especially in technological ways. So we really could not do anything in that building. Right. So the new building, we're adding on a second floor, and it's a fully, basically you can tell now there's only the foundation remaining and some of the brick walls. Yep. So it's brand new from floor to ceiling. I guess.
And the meeting room. I mean, the meeting room.
So the community meeting room, you will no longer have to go down into the basement. I had to walk Meryl Streep down into the basement of that building when she came for the Ideas Festival to see her good friend Ann Roth. We will not have to do that anymore. No more basement. So people will walk straight in from street level. It's universal. It has universal accessibility. So you walk straight in from the street. If you have an event that goes after hours, there's an evening exit from the meeting room. 200 people can sit in the meeting room. There's also a more informal space, that's stadium seating that goes up to the second floor. And that can seat 100 people, and we're envisioning music, lectures, things that are, that sort of, and with an incredible view that you're looking out on, because you're looking out at Maplewood Memorial Park. And there's, 10 meeting rooms in the building. An amazing children's room, an amazing teen area, and an adult reading room on the second floor with views of the park. An outside reading terrace. Yeah. I mean, I could go on and on. It's going to be incredible. I really feel like it encompasses from our earliest users to our wisest, sagest older users, right? It really is a place for everyone, and a physical place. So instead of the teens being right in there with everybody else, they have their own place. And that really came from, we did, and our architects are Sage and Coombe Architects out of New York, and they've been fantastic. They did focus groups from day one with so many different people in the community, teens, children, families, authors, seniors, you name it, they did it. But what was interesting is really, we heard the same thing from every group. Everybody wanted a beautiful, inspiring space, and I think what really struck with me was the teens who spoke. I mean, they did not want to be in an ugly space anymore. They talked about the back of the library being a place where, you would only want to go get beat up because it's just so ugly. So, all of those, I mean, I think everyone is going to love walking into that building and having, it's really, it's been described, libraries have been described as palaces for the people. This will be a palace for the people of Maplewood. Excellent. And I mean, we pride ourselves in our
tree community, right? Our
Yes.
connection to the earth and having those views in the back
Right.
excites me.
And the landscaping for the new library is all native species, including trees, that will be right around the library. They're green roofs over
Okay.
2 areas.
Exciting.
Solar panels covering the roof so that, and this is an all-electric building, LEED Gold certification, so it will be a sustainable building, a model for this town, for the state, and really for the country.
As it should be.
Yes.
I feel like we should be leaders. We
Yes.
are leaders. How you briefly mentioned a little bit with the compliance, like the building. How will this facility, I guess, I don't want to say appeal to support diverse populations? So we talked about the entrances ways, right? Very accessible to everyone.
Correct.
Right, from strollers to wheelchairs to just any kind of walking to be able to coming in.
Right. And then the other thing we've done is we've opened up the entrance from the park. So that, right, in past years, you could only enter from Baker Street. Now you will be able to go straight through to the library. So if you're getting off the train or walking in the park, you can come into the library that way.
Okay.
And so I think, so the doors from the Baker Street entrance and the park entrance really go straight through the library, so you can see through the library.
Okay.
And that provides a more welcoming space, I think, for anybody who wants to come into our building.
Yeah.
So we're really trying to remove barriers across the board, making the outside easier to navigate, a new ADA accessible parking area closer to the front entrance. That was something that we heard from seniors. And we want to see our middle school students again. And so I think they will be welcomed when they walk in that door and have an incredible space when they enter.
It is still interesting to me when you read about like authors who've made it, right? People who tell their story, and how many of them talked about the library as a refuge, like of just a safe spot. And when the teen years are, whatever they are, fill in the blank, right? When they are challenging, when they are difficult, when you're going through even just being who you are.
Yeah.
And the library is the constant, right? It doesn't judge you.
So the first person that we honored in 2014 was the author Judith Viorst.
Yep.
And she was a Maplewood resident. I believe she's now 91 years old. But this year is the 50th anniversary of Alexander the No Good, Very Bad Day. And I say that because when she came and spoke at the Maplewood Library, she talked about that. Yeah. She talked about coming to the library as a kid and how this was a place for her. And really started that, her thought process on being a writer and everything. Yeah.
All right. Well, very excited. Anything else about the facility before we wrap up tonight you want to highlight, you want to tell us, celebrate?
Just that it's going to be completed in 2024. Yes. So we're a little more than a year away.
Okay.
And so we look forward to, it's moving.
Good.
And you will see, more construction. You can come to the Maplewood Library website at maplewoodlibrary.org to find out more about it. And this is a public-private partnership. So I would be remiss to not mention that everybody in the community, we really want everybody to be involved. The Maplewood Library Foundation has raised over $1.6 million, and they're hoping to raise $2 million towards this project.
So give again.
So please give. And the town has supported this library, and we also received an $8.3 million grant from the state. So this has got, a lot of support, and we owe many thanks to everyone who's made this happen.
Thank you. Sarah Lester, thank you for spending time with us tonight. Thank you for enlightening us on the 9th annual Ideas Festival and the construction project. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much.
And come to the library.
I will be there. Thank you so much. I'm Jen Latimer with Sarah Lester. This has been Books in Action.